Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of Eye on Port. It is proudly brought to you by Goil Company Limited. I nearly said West Blue, but the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, the Ghana Revenue Authority, also Serene Insurance, Business and Financial Times is our proud media partner for this particular program. It's also quite a number of other media outlets also publish almost all the activities that happen on this platform, Eye on Port. You may notice that today my studio has changed a little bit because some other programs are going on elsewhere, and we had to make way for this new studio. So don't be surprised, it's the same Eye on Port, and we're going to address the very important subjects that you are interested in when it comes to doing business around the port maritime industry. If you get a copy of the Thursday edition of the Business and Financial Times, you should read a lot more about what we discuss on this platform, plus many other news items that run around the port and harbours industry. They also bring you the schedules of the vessels that bring your cargo into this country, as well as the Ghana Web online portal. They also carry a lot of the programs on this platform, plus a number of media outlets. Now, this week we're going to look at the customs auctioning that we've been hearing about, vis-a-vis the perception that people have concerning selling cars within the port space there. So a lot of people would ask you, I want to buy a car, and I hear that it's around the port that is cheaper, so I want to buy from there. People think that cars are being sold around the port. Now, probably that's because customs has a lot of auction from time to time. We're going to get clarification on this, whether indeed cars are being sold around the port, because people are taking advantage of unsuspecting clients of the port and duping them. That is, unscrupulous individuals are duping people because they make them believe that cars are being sold around the port. We'll get answers from customs. They're already seated. We'll be back shortly.
Now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Electricity, pay your taxes. Yeah, our taxes.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Tell God, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Oh, how are you?
Hi Yvonne, a few words please. Everyone is talking about the fire at your production house last week. How are you holding up? Has production stalled?
No, not at all. My crew and everyone on my set is perfectly fine because I insure with Serene Insurance. As a matter of fact, I've had all my equipment replaced, including the vehicles that were affected. My workers have been sorted out. Even my production downtime has been covered. So it's all good. I have a meeting to attend to, so I have to get going. Sorry about that.
Which insurance company did you mention?
Serene Insurance, the new face of insurance, a member of First Sky Group.
coronavirus yare no yare a sign pa so obinya bi na se opowa gu so ana se obinti gu so a utumenya yare ni bi
okadi ni bahani onaka oyehila ekoji ohebanye do obawulo ogobahunu obachine ojamba wohe obana sen kaka mekmemusunchon mekmenu ni anihe
Coronavirus infection, the symptoms can range from mild, one of it being asymptomatic. Asymptomatic just means that you may not have any symptoms at all, and the disease process can gradually worsen to be a severe form, the severest being ultimately death.
We are expected to sanitize our hands when our hands are not visibly soiled or you can't really see dirt on your hands. If you can see dirt on your hands, the best thing to do is to wash your hands with soap and the running water.
If you're using any of the cloth face masks, always make sure you have a rubber bag ready to receive it when you remove it, or you have a bowl of warm soapy water in which you can place the mask and wash. Wash your mask, dry in the hot sun for at least 5 hours, and apply heat by way of ironing.
Utiliser les ports de TEMA et de Takoradi, c'est avoir un traitement rapide et sécurisé de vos marchandises diverses en conteneurs, en sac ou en vrac, ainsi que tous vos véhicules en transit. Le Ghana a construit un parking bien pavé pour tous les véhicules en transit. Une nouvelle gare frigorifique pour le stockage de la marchandise congelée en transit. Avec un nouveau centre de traitement de données construit et la mise en œuvre efficace d'un guichet unique national qui permet aux données d'être accessibles par tous les intervenants, le traitement des dossiers dans les ports du Ghana est maintenant efficace et plus efficient. Utiliser les ports du Ghana, c'est profiter des systèmes de portes électroniques et d'exploitation des terminaux ainsi que de la réservation des navires en ligne, entraînant ainsi un parc de camions fiable pour un acheminement de vos marchandises dans les brefs délais avec un suivi satellitaire jusqu'à nos frontières.
Les femmes, à vous les honneurs.
Les ports de TEMA et de Takoradi célèbrent la femme. Que les bienfaits de cette célébration apportent plus de bénédictions.
Okay, welcome back from the break. So once again, the topic for discussion this evening will be to look at the difference between the customs auction that goes on around the ports there as against the perception or the notion that people have that you can buy or sell cars within the port environment. Now, a lot of people fall prey to unscrupulous individuals who end up duping unsuspecting clients within the port environment with a claim that they can provide them cars to buy or cars to sell. Now, that's what we're going to discuss. Unfortunately, I have in the studio the head of auctions. He's going to deal with this subject once and for all. You may want to call a friend or call a brother or relations who always finds some interest in buying or selling cars from around the port. We're going to bring you a drama that speaks to this subject as well. So you might want to hook around, don't move, because it will be interesting to get a clearer picture of what actually transpires when it comes to this subject of selling cars around the port. In the meantime, let's take a listen to some of the news items that are happening around the port industry. The previous week, we had the celebration of the World Maritime Week by the IMO. Also, we had the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade Industry and Tourism visiting the port. There was also stakeholder engagement with people of KETA as far as the fish landing site that's going to be put up there is concerned. Let's listen to all of that.
Members of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism have on Tuesday, 22nd September 2020, paid a working visit to the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to familiarize themselves with the implementation of digitization programs and other key developments at Ghana's ports. According to the chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee, Nana Mafo Ameniampong, in line with their oversight responsibility on trade, it was important to interact with the Port Authority, which plays a key role in trade facilitation in the country, to ascertain the impacts of national digitization programs and reforms on the activities at Ghana's ports.
The integral part of trade is foreign trade, and all foreign trade starts from the ports and harbors and ends there. So we are here actually to Jojo with you, see how the developments which have been introduced by this current administration has impacted on you.
The corporate IT manager of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Francis Donko, indicated that tireless efforts by the Port Authority has ensured a seamless integration with a new integrated customs management system for efficient cargo clearance at the country's ports, despite some challenges during the initial rollout of the system.
We are able to do that. We're able to complete end-to-end transactions using the ICOMS platform, and that our systems are picking the information directly from the ICOMS platform, to generate automatic invoice for our customers, and that is really working well.
He said GPHA systems have been designed to enhance convenience for clients, where importers and exporters would now be able to transact with the Port Authority through electronic means such as mobile money. The corporate IT manager revealed many other technological advancements that the Ports and Harbours Authority has embarked upon to improve the overall efficiency of Ghana's ports.
We have integrated our billing system with our collecting banks so that the customers at the comfort of their offices or wherever they can find themselves, can transact business, pay their charges using electronic means.
The general manager in charge of corporate planning, Samuel Ntokumi, said investments made in Ghana's ports over recent years are geared towards growing the cargo traffic by the end of the year 2020.
Containers measured in TEUs have been growing steadily over the last 5 years. We hit 1 million TEUs in 2018. 1 million is a psychological threshold. And then, thankfully, this year is projected that we'll still hit that psychological threshold of 1 million.
He said the 50% expected decline in cargo traffic, particularly through the port of Takoradi, is due to the negative consequences of COVID-19 on oil and gas sector, as well as the capping of manganese exports by government.
And Ghana Manganese is a major customer of the port. They mine raw manganese and export. And because of government's intention to promote sustainable mining, our understanding is that there's a cap on how much they can mine and take away so that the mine could maybe last longer into the future.
Members of the Parliamentary Select Committee wrapped their visit with a tour of the Meridian Port Services Terminal 3 to familiarize themselves with operations at the gigantic port facility at the Port of Tema. The chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee said, having had first-hand experience of developments at the country's ports, he gained a deeper appreciation of the progress made.
Basically, we are very much impressed that we've been with the port. I mean, they've told us what they are doing, and
meanwhile, following their visit to the Port of Tema, members of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism have also paid a working visit to the Port of Takoradi to abreast themselves with developments pertaining to the implementation of digitization programs and other related issues. The ranking member of the committee, Emmanuel Kofi-Boa, reiterated his outfit's interest in the impact of government policies on digitization, among other things, to position the Port of Takoradi towards the goal of being a world-class and highly competitive port. The director of the Port of Takoradi, Captain Ebenezer Feizi, said many infrastructural developments ongoing at that port will be operational in 2021, and those are positioned to increase efficiency at the nation's premier port. The chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism, Nana Mafo Amenyampon, said upon his assessment, he is pleased to see the Takoradi port making strides to take its rightful place with regards to port productivity in the region. The ranking member of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism, Emmanuel Kofi-Boa, and his deputy, Yusuf Suleimana, have re-echoed the significance of the initiative to construct the KETA port and have appreciated the role that has been played by the director of the Port of KETA to see to it that the project comes to fruition.
We make it very clear that's it will really be to the country's national security interest to have that port going.
I've never read anywhere where somebody suggests that this is not a project that is necessary. We all realize that it is necessary. And of course, the president has every right through an executive instrument to do what he's done.
The acknowledgement follows a briefing by the general manager in charge of marketing and corporate affairs of GPHA, Esther Jebidonko, to the members of the Parliamentary Select Committee during their working visit to the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to appraise themselves with developments at the country's ports.
GPHA took the steps to obtain an executive instrument for this from the president. And once that was granted, it opened the gateway for us to organize and plan for the building of a third port in KETA.
The GM for Marketing and Corporate Affairs at GPHA assured that plans to bring the KETA port into being is progressing steadily under the leadership of its director, Dr. Alexander Yahweh-Duse.
He has successfully led the GPHA team to be able to come up with the consultants who are doing the feasibility studies. Currently, the consultants have been chosen. That was done in June 2020. And then they have done the field study. They have provided an inception report for us. Management has discussed and reviewed, led by the director of KETA. And we have made our comments back to the consultant.
She explained the painstaking nature of planning for the development of a strategic national asset like a port in order to position it to serve the country for decades and beyond.
A port building is a massive infrastructure project. It takes time. There's so much to be done as preliminary activities before the port itself is built.
The Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Michael Lugoje, stated GPHA's commitment to ensuring all processes leading up to the construction of a well-positioned KETA port that would serve the desires of the Ghanaian people.
So we made available for this feasibility study our own internal budget from GPHA coffers. That's why probably you didn't hear about it in the budget by the Minister for Finance. And going down into when the feasibility would have been completed, we'll get the report and want to begin actual construction. Certainly, basic facilities will be provided by GPHA.
He, however, stated that after the ongoing feasibility studies have been fully assessed in 2021, the Port Authority would consider all potential financial avenues of investment into the project for success to be achieved.
The good thing, which is encouraging to us, is that even as there's all this PR about the Port of KETA, we are getting quite a number of interests that are expressed, general open interests that are expressed, and we are looking at a situation where we have partners that will move business, that will generate business within the region and ship in and out.
The ranking member of the committee, Emmanuel Amakofibua, called for increased collaboration between the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority and his outfit towards the successful realization of the KETA Ports project.
So that, for example, when there are allocations and we realize that nothing has been allocated to the port in KETA, we are able to raise the issues that, but this port, we know that it's stuck here because of this issue and this issue. And there's the need for government to really support this effort for it to move forward.
Residents of the KETA community, including traditional authorities, have been sensitized on the ongoing construction of the fishing landing site in that area. A delegation comprising the Deputy Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Kingsley Francis Atukujo, Deputy Volta Regional Minister Johnson Avulete, officials from the Ministry of Transport, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, including the Director of Port of KETA, engineers from the China Harbour Engineering Company, and a project consultant, embarked on a sensitization campaign to officially introduce the contractors and engineers to the traditional authorities and people of KETA, as well as address all their concerns regarding that project. KETA is one of 12 designated coastal towns by government for the development of modern fishing ports and landing sites in the country, which is intended to give a major boost to the fishing industry in the country. Like the other 11 fish landing sites, China Harbour Engineering Company will be constructing the site in KETA with assistance from its local partner, Bluestone Limited. The director in charge of policy and planning at the Ministry of Transport, Irene Mesiba, who spoke on behalf of the Minister of Transport, Kweku Ofori-Isiama said the project has the potential to transform the local economy of KETA and contribute massively to the country at large.
In terms of benefits, there is no doubt that the project will improve the livelihood of the community and also create jobs for the youth of KETA and its environs, both during the construction and after completion of the project.
Speaking on the scope of the project, the consultant for the project, Richard Mann, said the fishing landing site would aid fishermen dock their fishing boats safely at the shores of KETA to complement their fishing expeditions. He said the engineers would choose sites for the specific structures after consultations with the municipal assembly and fisherfolk in the community. The traditional authorities of KETA expressed enthusiasm towards the realization of the fish landing site in the coastal town of KETA.
I only pray that we are prepared to receive this landing site. It's not supposed to pay just for other people, but those of us who are born and bred here.
The municipal chief executive of the KETA Municipal Assembly, Godwin Eduji Efa, acknowledged the significance of an intensive sensitization campaign even as the project is at its infant stages and physical construction is now taking off.
It is therefore important that we all listen with rapt attention to what the consultants of the project will tell us. This is a clear signal that the construction of the main harbour will definitely see the light of day. The Deputy Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Kingsley Francis Atukujo, thanked the President Nana Akufo-Addo for the enormous investments he has invited onto the development of the fisheries sector.
Constructive board is not a matter of molding block today to the next day we start building the building. It takes a lot of things to come in. So I want to appeal to everybody that calm down. As far as His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo is concerned, this will come as planned.
So far, about 5.2% of required works on the fishing port and landing site has been done, with physical construction works about taking off.
Nana Akufo-Addo has also procured we have on order 13,000 album motors, which are taking in. So far, we have done about 3,000, and the rest are coming for distribution. No president in Ghana ever committed their resources to the artisanal fishing side.
The Ghana maritime industry on 24th September 2020 joined the rest of the world to mark the World Maritime Day, a day set aside by the International Maritime Organization to celebrate the international maritime industry's contribution towards the global economy, especially in shipping. This year's World Maritime Day focused on sustainable shipping for a sustainable planet to raise awareness of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and revise the work that the International Maritime Organization and its member states are undertaking to achieve the targets. Speaking on behalf of the Minister for Transport, Kweku Ofori-Isiama, the Chief Director at the Ministry, Mabel Sego, charged the Ghana Maritime Authority to take up all the necessary measures to enforce the Global Sulfur Cap 2020 in line with the determination of International Maritime Organization to ensure a truly sustainable planet.
The government fully endorsed GMA's ban on ships with emission exceeding the 0.5% sulfur cap from entering our ports.
Stating government's direction for continuity in the shipping industry amid the COVID-19 pandemic, the Chief Director of the Transport Ministry assured the Maritime Authority of government's continuous support towards achieving success in its mandate of protecting Ghana's marine space.
In the last few years, the Ghana Maritime Authority has been retooled in a manner never seen before in the nearly 2 decades history of the organization. Since 2017, the GMA has procured 7 speedboats with which officials of the authority are patrolling in the country's ports to ensure no illegal activity takes place and also to conduct search and rescue activity.
The Director General of GMA, Thomas Kofi Alonsi, acknowledged the urgency attached to the enforcement of reforms in the maritime sector in order to promote sustainable shipping and protect the environment. He said the Ghana Maritime Authority is also playing its role and has procured sulfur kits and other equipment in compliance with flag state and port state measures.
The implementation of the new sulfur limit falls within the remit and responsibility
of the Ghana Maritime Authority. I am therefore pleased to announce that the authority procured sulfur test kits and other equipments to ensure compliance of this very important regulation.
He, however, called for a collective approach in the area of technical cooperation and transfer of technology relating to the improvement of energy efficiency of ships and support from the international community to achieve the 2030 Agenda for Global Sustainable Development.
It is worth mentioning that from 1st January 2020, sulfur oxide emissions from ships have been reduced considerably with sufficient benefits for human health and the environment. I must say that this could not have been achieved without the commitment of the maritime industry and key stakeholders throughout the supply chain.
The 2020-2021 edition of the annual Cocoa Freight Negotiation Conference has been held in Ghana to enable stakeholders agree on freight rates and conditions for the shipment of cocoa to destinations in Europe, the Americas, Asia, among others, for the coming season. The conference, which was the second of its kind being held in Ghana since the formal collaboration between the Cocoa Marketing Company Limited and the Ghana Shippers Authority this year, brought together shipping lines, shipping agents, as well as other allied stakeholder agencies. The Cocoa Marketing Company, Ghana Shippers Authority, and the 24 shipping lines operating in the country resolved to maintain the existing freight rates for cocoa shipments for the 2020-2021 cocoa season. This means calculated per ton, shipping cocoa to their various marketing destinations across the world remains unchanged at the existing rates of £30 to the United Kingdom, €49 to the Northern Continent, €56 to Estonia, €55 to the Mediterranean Europe, €55 to Mediterranean Europe, $94 to the Far East, and $103 to Brazil. The bunker adjustment factor was equally maintained at 27% for all destinations, but for the UK, which was reduced to 25%. The rates were arrived at after extensive negotiations on the future of the sector and how best to cushion the cocoa market and business and keep it thriving amidst the obvious impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic on that sector. Some shipping lines present that agreed on the 2020-2021 prices are Maersk Line, Mediterranean Shipping Company, ZIM Integrated Shipping Services Limited, Grimaldi, and Costco Shipping Lines. Addressing the conference ahead of the negotiations, the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Benonita Bismarck, noted that the year under review saw bunker prices remaining slightly low with stable freight rates.
We mentioned that the coming into effect of the IMO Sulfur Cap 2020 on January 1st, and noted that there was no certainty about how it was going to affect the global shipping industry. Its implementation, however, coincided with COVID-19, and we can now say that bunker prices are slightly lower and freight rates have been quite stable.
Touching on impacts of COVID-19 on the shipping business, Benonita Bismarck praised the combined efforts of government and its key agencies in the shipping industry and shipping lines for eliminating the demurrage charges during the lockdown period in order to alleviate the plight of shippers.
Fortunately, due to tremendous cooperation received from the shipping lines, majority of these time-related charges were waived by the shipping lines, to the relief of shippers and government alike.
The managing director of the Cocoa Marketing Company, Vincent Otre Akomia, said some of the challenges faced during the 2019-2020 cocoa season include reopening of containers, inadequate containers to staff cocoa from some carriers, and delay in releasing bills of lading. He noted that even though a chunk of the nation's cocoa comes from the western region, many shipping lines are reluctant in docking their vessels at the port of Takoradi to transport the commodity.
It was also difficult to get confirmation of vessels, sailing dates, and the exact containers that were loaded on board from some carriers for documentation purposes. Incidentally, these challenges were coming from some of the container shipping lines.
Vincent Otre Akomia said, while the country's export of cocoa is expected to be around 700,000 tons in the coming season, the CMC is collaborating with other stakeholders to put together some incentives to attract more vessels to cut cocoa from the port of Takoradi.
We are therefore encouraging as many shipping lines as possible to avail themselves to load cocoa from Takoradi. We are showing you of incentives like greater volumes and free empty container terminal at our Kajebril. We are taking the issue of port tariffs and port charges with Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority.
Okay, so those are some of the news items, and quite a lot this week we had happenings around the port and maritime industry. My guest in the studio is Prince Akwabwa. He's the Principal Revenue Officer who is also the head of auction with the Ghana Revenue Authority at the headquarters. Prince, good to have you in the studio.
Thank you, my
Pleasure
brother.
to see you again after a long while.
Thank you.
How have you been doing?
Oh, it's good.
Doing a lot of auctioning?
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking. I'm sorry.
Last time I thought we were coming to witness our auction.
Oh, but I think we did. We came around there.
But you didn't inform me. You didn't hide me.
We hide underground small.
Well,
we didn't hide you. It's very interesting, some of the auction that we see you undertake. Quite interesting. People, what's the process like? Because we see a lot of people raising their hands, and you end up picking, or the auctioneers select some people. How do you get the people that you select, or the auctioneers select eventually to buy these cars?
Thank you. The selection is based on certain criteria, and the first and foremost criteria is, let me thank the management of DRA for this opportunity, and then your cherished listeners. I greet them. Yes, the selection is based on certain criteria, and the foremost criteria is the affordability. So when we go, our mind is on people who can afford and pay and clear the item to decongest the ports. So you can see when we are doing the auction, at a point we will break and then meet those who were successful in the bidding and make sure they are in the capacity to pay before we issue them with the cheats. Once we see that they are unable to pay, then the item have to be rate listed for auction.
But how do you determine if the person has the capacity to pay? Because we have heard, and some of the observations we've had is that people are there, they raise their hands, they even offer the highest bid and all of that, yet they are not called. Others with lower bids are called. Who determines who is capable?
Thank you. If you recall, the last time I was here, this question of somebody bidding highest and not getting the item came. And I explained that gone were the days when we used to go by the highest bidder thing, because we saw that there was a trend developing, that people who, especially the owners, because of the emotions they have for their items, once they come to the auction grounds, at all costs, they will not let the item go. And then they will give the highest of all. If you mention 10,000, he will mention 100,000, knowing that the market value of the item is not even up to 100,000. And you give it to him, and he will not come to pay. So the item or the vehicle has to be there to the next auction. By that time, so many deterioration might have happened. So when we go, it is the reasonable bidder, rather. We know.
How is that determined?
That is determined by the reserve price.
You have a reserved price?
Yes. Yes.
So you have your own sort of cut-off price that you hope that people will mention around that figure?
Yes. Actually, the law on auction states that if you come to the calculation of duty, it tells you that it is the duty deductible on the item that we are supposed to realize. So that forms the basis of the auction, which is the reserve price. So we calculate the duty, and then anything above that duty can go. So we don't sit down for somebody to mention any astronomical figure, and that is given to him. So that is how the custom auction goes. It's auction is a whole subject altogether. I don't think
it's no, but you can help, because what it is that a lot of people have that notion that it looks like you know who you give these cars to or these items to already. Because how are you able to tell? Now we can see an example of the auction on the screens, and quite a number of people. And like you said, the last time you did it, you didn't notice, but our folks were there. We had some of our colleagues who were reporting from there, and they were part and took part in the auction, and they raised their hands, nobody calls. They raise their hands, nobody calls. Mention some of the amounts that are higher, nobody calls. Amounts that are lower, nobody calls. So and who can tell the amount that your reserved price that you expect people to play around? So it becomes quite difficult. It's as if those who know your reserved price are already around and they can mention exactly what you are looking for.
I think this is an interesting subject, because we are all discussing a subject of perception.
Okay,
and
so
this what you are
break
saying,
it down for us.
Yes.
Make it easier for us to get.
Yes, I'll break it down. One, the auction is one not conducted by customs officials. It is conducted by an auctioneers. Okay. And those auctioneers have been trained, and they know how to select people who are in the capacity to pay. So the last time I told you, if you can invite an auctioneer to your program, and these questions will then go to him.
The auctioneer?
Yes, that's what are some of the criteria they used in selecting people who are capable in paying the duty, the reserve price.
By the way, who are these auctioneers? How did you come by them?
Auctioneers are under our act, that is PNDC, I've forgotten the actual act.
That's fine.
Yes, they are registered with the Ministry of Interior. They go through the process of licensing, and then they file their tax returns as well.
Anybody can apply?
Not at all. You need to go through the process of giving a license.
Getting a license from where?
From Ministry of Interior.
Okay, so can anybody apply to have this license?
One, you need to be trained by an auctioneer for at least a minimum of 2 years.
I see.
Before you write an auctioneer's exams.
Oh, there's a whole system like that?
There's a whole board that regulates auctioneers. And then you write the exams.
What's the name of this board, though?
I think the Auctioneers Association or something. And then you write the exams. Once you pass, then you write to Ministry of Interior for the licenses. And then they issue you with the licenses. I don't know what criteria goes in there, but once you are given the licenses, then you need to file your tax returns. And at the end of every year, GRA advertise for auctioneers to put in application, those who want to partake in GRA auctions. And then those applications we receive are vetted by a committee, and we use certain criteria such as their tax returns, filing of tax returns, VAT, among other things. And then they are selected, and they are given the job to conduct customs auction.
Okay. Now, the main subject for today is to get the difference between this auction that you undertake, which you have explained very well to us, as against this notion and perception that people have that because of this that is going on, and we can see an example on the screen, it means that you can go to the port at any point in time and buy a car. Or sell a car. So people get to ask you quite often that, oh, matise port on mono car yefupa, on mania car, correct car yefupa. How true is this?
Thank you for this question. It's not true.
That what?
You can walk in at any customs installations or collections or the ports and just buy a car. In fact, there's general perception, like you rightly said, that cars at the port are cheap, or auction cars are cheap. One. Two is that they think that they can get good condition car, quality car at the port. And three, because of maybe the wide range of cars there, they think they can get their preference when they come to the port. So everybody will then troop in to look for his choice. But let me take you through the custom auction process.
Please do.
For our viewers to see that it is firmly grounded by law. And it takes some process. You don't just walk in, give money to somebody, and then you take the car away. One, the vehicles are people's property, which were imported into the country.
The vehicles that are lined up at the port.
At the port. Once the vessel docks and the vehicles are discharged from the vessel, they are bound to be taken to a terminal. That is the Golden Jubilee Terminal or the Save One Terminal, awaiting payment of duties by their owners. So if you go in there and you see cars line up, it doesn't mean they are for sale. They are for people who some are in the process of paying. Some are even for transit. Some are for free zone enclaves. And so many other regimes. So after 60 days, if the importers don't clear, that is when auction comes in.
That's the owner of the car. If after 60 days they don't clear, so like those ones you have marked with a yellow something there, if it's not cleared after 60 days, then what do you do to it?
After 60 days of non-clearance by their importers, then we move in to mark them because there are so many cars there.
Like it has been marked there. So the one that has been marked, it means the owner hasn't cleared it after 60 days.
It has overstayed after the statutory 60 days period. That is if you go to section 59 of the Customs Act 2015 at 891. After 60 days of non-clearance, auction moves in to compile those cars which have not been cleared. And we mark them to separate them from the other ones.
Okay.
Once they are marked, we compile the list. It is not only at the TEMA port, all customs collections, TEMA port, airport car park, Jamestown, Kumasi collection, Koforidia collection, Sunyani collection, Takrade collection, Elubo collection, Hu collection, Aflao collection, Wa collection, Tamale, Boga, in all the customs installations. So we compile this list and send them to the assembly press for them to gazette, for the owners to know that these items are in the process of being seized to the state. Once the gazette comes out, we give it 14 days maturity period to inform the owners again. But within all this process, the importers still have the chance to write for restoration, to go through the process and pay. So if somebody brings you there and show you a car, that I'm going to give this car to you, even though it has been marked, the importer still has the room to clear.
I see.
So if I've given him money, it will not come to you. The interesting point is that even when we are doing the auction, 48 hours to the auction, the importers still have the room to write to commissioner for restoration to pay. But it's not just a letter. It must be backed by sufficient evidence of, ability to pay.
Is that what you call the first offer or something?
Exactly. Exactly. Then, after the publication, a date is set, and the date is published in the daily newspapers, at least 2 daily newspapers of national circulation. And on the day of the auction, we appoint an auctioneer. Then let me come to an interesting point, which even has a bearing on our first question, the auctioneers. In fact, the list of items to be auctioned are not given by the auctioneers before the day of the auction.
Are not given to them?
To the auctioneers. Sorry, to the auctioneers. It is given to them on the day of the auction, the time of the auction, when we are there.
So the auctioneers are not privy to the content of items that you're going to auction before the auctioning day proper?
Yes,
or
and
time?
it is in the law. It is in our law that it is given to them on the day of auction.
There's no way they can pass back and get to know what it is like. Getting a poll ahead of time.
Yes, today's subject is very interesting because it's all, situated in perception index. Yes, so the auctioneers don't even have a poll before the auction, let alone somebody going to see them that I want this car, I want this car. No. And two, even the price, the reserve price, the duty, we don't, when we give the list to them, that portion is not given to them. For them to also, like you rightly said, talk to people outside that this car is 2,000. So if you bring 2,005, you'll get it.
So how are they then able to accept the offers that are made by the people who are bidding? Because if they don't have the reserve price, at what point are they able to decide that I'm accepting that particular offer because you fall around the reserved price?
Good. I wish you see.
Yeah, we are seeing it on the screens. It's on the screens.
You can see an officer. It might even be me or one of my staff officers.
Yeah.
He holds a paper.
Okay, so there's a customs officer by it.
And he even whispers into the auctioneer's ear
that this is what we want.
This is the price for this one. Once he mentions an item, then the officer look at it, what the value there, 10,000. Then he tells him 10,000.
What if the price that is mentioned by the people, any of the bidders, is not part of your reserved prices?
It cannot be sold. The item cannot be sold because the amount there is calculated based on law.
And that's exact amount you want, or anything hovering around it?
No.
Exact amount?
Anything less than that amount cannot be accepted.
Really, Prince?
Yes.
And you're able to get this?
Yes.
Exact amount, that bidders are to mention the exact amount of your reserve that before they can get the item?
Not the exact amount. The reserve price is there. So the auctioneer will mention it, that this item is going for 10,000.
Okay.
Then the bidders will now bid.
Okay.
10,005,
okay.
11,000. Okay. But you hear somebody, 50,000. And that is where the highest bidder perception comes in.
Yes. But what's wrong with that? If I choose to pay more than what you have given, I see the value in what I want.
Interestingly, my brother, we all buy cars. We are all men, and men, you know, we are fan of cars. So you know the value of every car. If now I ask you, what is the price of Toyota 2016?
Avensis, the one you used to drive.
Not at all. Yes, Toyota 2017 model. What is the market value? At least you will not mention anything less than 60,000 or something. Yes, we know. And the duty for that is around 22,000. So at the auction day, we are expecting 22,000 minimum. That is the reserve price. So the auctioneer will mention the 22,000. Somebody will mention 23,000, 25, and you hear somebody mention 100,000.
Okay, so now let's situate this to the perception again that people have that you're selling cars there, because from what you're saying, the auctioning doesn't happen all the time. It's just once a while, and even with that, you have just stated that you publish when it's supposed to be done. So people who feel that at any point in time they can come to the port and they can get a car to buy, what is driving this and what can be done to it?
I think what is driving it, one would be that, I don't know, you know,
like you said, because the number of cars are there, they think that
one
the number
is
of
that,
cars.
and generally, you know, we like cheap things. So once you hear that when you go to the port, you are going to get cheap cars there, then people will troop in.
Is it true?
It's not true. It's not true.
That when you come to the port, you...
Because let's look at this assumption. If the duty, which the law asks us to realize, was such low or such cheap, do you think the owner or the importer, who is a rational human being or a rational business person, would have left it there? No.
But the notion had been that even though people are not able to pay this duty and sometimes end up abandoning these vehicles there, when you are auctioning, you auction them at a very reduced price, which allow people to take it at a very cheaper cost than even you were asking for when it comes to the duty, for which the importer abandoned the vehicle.
Yes, this is also perception.
But that's not true?
Let me take you through the duty, calculation of duty on vehicles. And you realize,
auctioning?
Yes, and you realize that it is not by discretion.
Break it down.
One, the law says that when we are auctioning car, we are supposed to realize the duties and taxes. It does not include penalties. It does not include overage penalties, because penalties are, sort of mechanisms to dissuade people from bringing overage cars. So if you come to customs assessment of vehicles, any car above 10 years, we start imposing penalty on it. Yes. So, and if you look at our penalty, if you look at our penalty, calculation, once it is, let's say saloon car, once it is above 5 years, the penalty element there is about 50% of the CIF, not even of the duty, of the CIF, the cost insurance rate. When you calculate 50% of that amount, it is about 3 or 4 times the duty of the car. So when we are doing auction, this portion of penalty is not added.
Why? Because why do you punish me for bringing a car that is above 5 years or above 10 years? I'm not able to pay that because of the punishment, and I leave it. Then you tell somebody to come and pay it without a penalty.
Yes, it's a mechanism to
deter me from bringing it in the first place.
Cars. And the reason being that overage cars has the propensity to emit carbon dioxide and those things in the ozone layers, which eventually deplete the environment.
So you are deterring me from bringing it, but you are not deterring people from using it.
We are not.
So because when the person comes for rate from auction, through auction, they are going to use it eventually, and you are not deterring them from going to use it, but you're deterring me from importing it.
They didn't import it, so maybe we can assume that they don't know, or they haven't committed any. Yes,
but they know the year of the car, the year make of the car, and so then they would have known that, okay, so this car was made 2013, we are in 2020, that's 7 years, and I still want it. I'm going to bid it and go and use it on my road. Why wouldn't you deter me from using the car, but you deter somebody who imported it?
Yes, this thing I'm saying is law.
Okay. So it's not Prince, it's not Akwabua
who is taking off the overage element. But what our advocate is that, yes, I share your, reason.
So you agree that it's making the auctioning bit cheaper for people to rather go for it than people who want to buy it from the regular market?
In the case of overage vehicles, that element of overage, once it's taken out, it becomes a bit cheaper. But not that,
generally it's cheap.
Yes. And
but that's a huge component.
When it is not overage, then the law asks us to realize the actual duty the importer would have paid. And it cannot be cheap, because if it's cheap, the importer wouldn't have abandoned it. So the general myth that cars at the ports are cheap is not true. It is just these unscrupulous people trying to take advantage of our citizens. That is why we are doing this education.
Okay, so the other thing is, even though what I want to get out of you is that even though the penalty component is taking out of the cost of the duty of the car when auctioning, it's still not as cheap as we are imagining.
Very well. Very true.
But would you also admit that the fact that some components, like the penalty component, is taking off, makes it some way, somehow cheaper, the auctioning?
Very true.
And that can also encourage some people to import, probably abandon it, with the hope that when auctioning is happening, they now can pass back and go and get it. Is that possible?
That is why we don't use the highest bidder. We use the reasonable bidder. So that if you are the importer, you have to still go through that competitive bidding. And I mean, we have
you may lose it.
You may lose it eventually. So I don't think that is the motivation for people bringing in overage cars or people trooping in at the ports. But I mean, it's all lack of education. So I will encourage that this program is done frequently.
The other thing is that even on aside the port, the physical space of the port here that we have, your other installations as well, people can hold people's hands and bring them to your installations and say that, oh, that car is mine, Meton, this car is mine, I'm selling, that car is mine, I'm selling. The cars at your various installations, including the port enclave and all of that, do you allow them to go out for sale just like that?
Not at all. Not at all. They will all have to go this process of auctioning. And like I said initially, we don't sell cars. Customs don't sell cars. We auction cars. And the auction is not done daily. It is done periodically. And you have to be physically present, partake in the process before you win. And once you win, we are going to issue you with auction sheets there and then for you to go through the process, go and pay your money at the bank, come to customs for release, and you go and sit in your car and move away. So people going in, giving money to people with the promises that I'm going to, wait for this time when auction is about to take place, I'll give you. It's not true. And we have to tell our citizens to desist from that.
Okay. Now, you can contribute if you want to contribute to the program or ask questions from Mr. Akwabwa, who is the head of auction. The number that you can WhatsApp is 055-901-9177, 055-901-9177. The number that you can phone in and share or question any area that you see clarity to is 020-552-8353, 020-552-8353. And Romeo, who is a freight forwarder already, says, good evening, Sammy. Please ask the GRA man if they have considered auctioning vehicles online. This is possible and must be considered to enable bidders all over the country have the opportunity to bid. Romeo Frimpong from GIF. Do you agree to that?
This is very good contribution. In fact.
And what have you done about it? Something like that?
Yes. In fact, we have considered this thing, and it is even at the advanced stage. We have invited software developers who have made presentations, and then we are here to meet them and go through the procurement process. But let me caution the public that we have not started doing online auction. Because last week, an officer sent me a link with GRA logo.
I see.
Clearly done.
They have started cloning your site already.
Oh, my brother. Yes.
To begin online auction on your behalf.
Online auction on our behalf. So let's caution the public. We have not started yet. You start here. Your advert. GRA will come out with the advert, and we put all security mechanisms in place. So that nobody is duped.
Okay, so what you're saying is that now, though, there is no online auctioning going on by the Ghana Revenue Authority. So whatever online process that's going on, as far as that's concerned, it's not proper.
It's not GRA. It's not from GRA.
Okay, and that brings me to the question of a lot of people. If you go to some of these online marketing platforms, Tonaton, OLX, and all that, you go there and you see a lot of them saying, oh, I'm selling this Toyota Corolla for this, some as cheap as 5,000 Ghana, and it's at the port. what have you done about that? How true is that in the first place, though?
My brother, I don't even do any online thing because, like we normally say, BBC, born before computer. So, Tonaton, those people, I don't know how their operation is like. But once you have brought it to the fore, I'll follow up and then update our viewers.
There are quite a number of people who have gone on that platform, on those marketing platforms, online marketing, and they have ended up being duped. Now, I have this one, and I will let you see a snippet of it. He just updated me that they have been able to arrest the person who duped him. Okay. He works with Ghana Revenue Authority, as a matter of fact. And I will play a snippet of his video for you to listen. In the meantime, Fred is on the line. Hello, Fred.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Sir, please, I have a quick question for you, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, last year, we bought a pickup which someone bought in the auction in Tamale.
Okay.
Then we bought it to Accra. So when we went to do the change of ownership at DVLA, we are asked to pay duty again.
I see.
So but it's an auction. The person has paid. We show them all the documents, but still they demand us to pay duty again.
Okay. He has taken note. The other one, you said 3 questions.
The other one is I bought a car from Togo number.
Yes.
I have my undertaking with me, but it was expired for 2 days. I was stopped at Jowuluba preventive.
Okay.
They took the car to airport. They didn't give me any paper. I asked them, okay, you're taking my car from me because my car is expired. How will I know that my car is with you? They said I should go and come back.
Okay.
I traveled. When I came back, I went there. I see my car being marked. I said, how come? Then someone told me to petition the Commissioner and Aflao. I went there. I did all necessary things. When I went to headquarters, they asked me to pay 5,000 cedis to get my car back. They said the car was illegal. I said, no, I showed all my documents.
Okay.
I paid the document to them. When I went to Aflao, they had to escort the car out of Ghana. When I get to Aflao, they asked me to pay extra money again, which I don't understand.
Okay. You're going to have to do your third one. Now, your third question is what?
No, that's just 2 questions.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Prince will address that quickly. So, like I promised, we'll just get a snippet of a video that's showing you that they are not selling cars within the port environment as you may have assumed all this while that cars are being sold. We'll get that shortly. But Prince, will you respond to some of the things he's raised?
Yes, I'll take the first one. The second one, I don't think it falls within my remit, but I'll try and profile some responses.
That's fine.
Yeah, the first one, I believe the pickup is not, it's a government pickup, maybe an institutional pickup he bought. And these cars, normally they are cleared on permit. So when you buy and you want to register, you need to come to customs. In fact, you have to secure the receipt of the auctioneer. It will be sold to you through auction, all right, but not customs. The auction is not conducted by customs. So the auctioneer will conduct the auction, give you a receipt. Then the ministry or the municipal which sold the car needs to give you a letter. And that letter, and then a letter from Chief of Staff informing him that this government car has been sold. But the duty component, which was initially waived, would have to be settled because now it is going to be the property of an individual, not the state. So you have to come back to customs to regularize the documents by paying the exempted duty. So I will advise him, he comes and then the assessment will be done for him to pay and we will give him documents for registration. The second one, which talks about, temporary vehicle importation. Which talks about temporary vehicle importation is temporary vehicle importation means that he's coming to use the car in the country for a limited period. Normally, it depends on the purpose for which you are bringing the car. And you might be given a maximum. That is when you're able to justify a maximum of 90 days. So I believe that he overstayed the 90 days. That is why the car was taken to the KIA or AFLAO or wherever he mentioned. Then, any day the car spent in the country, once you are exporting it back, you need to pay the penalty there to the state. So they asked him at AFLAO to pay the penalty there. But the claim or the allegation of 5,000, I cannot confirm. So I'll ask him or urge him to formally write to the management of GRA. And I'm sure management will competently handle his matter. Thank you.
Okay, so let me find out from you. Is there any point where, because we have heard people say that around the port itself, they see a lot of cars parked, and sometimes there's a for sale behind. And also the notion that somebody may have imported a car. He imported about 5 cars. Not all of them is he able to clear. So he has money to clear about 3 of them, and he can't clear the last 1 or 2. And so he's selling 1 or 2 of those cars. And that is cheaper. Is that possible? Is that happening? And is that the reason why people think that cars are being sold around the port?
Generally, if you want to buy a car at the port, it is a risky business you are taking. In that, per our law, per the Customs Act now, importers or owners of vehicles are not allowed to go through the process for clearance. They have to do so by securing the services of an agent. And the agent will have to clear the car on their behalf.
Okay, so, just not to disorganize your thoughts, but quickly let me just announce the WhatsApp number that you can call. I think I have a difficulty with the other one. So the WhatsApp number now should be 026 756 5143. 026 756 5143. 026 756 5143. It should be on your screen pretty shortly. That's the number that you can send your WhatsApp to. We apologize for the other line. I think there's a difficulty with the techies. So, Prince, you can go ahead. Sorry.
So we were on the subject of where, people bring in cars and then they want to sell some to clear the others. The advice I'll give here is that if you want to engage in such business, please make sure that you send the car to Customs office. Let Customs authenticate it for you, that this car had well been cleared from the port before you part any money. Because this one, it is not, the work of anybody. It is some personal, engagement.
Yeah.
You have your car, you are selling. I cannot come in that don't sell your car because the price is cheap. But the advice I'll give you is that make sure it has duly passed through the test of customs process before you part.
But do they do some of those transactions around the port as soon as the importers arrive, just around the port space, then they are selling the cars, the ones that they can't, they don't want to take away?
In fact,
I thought they take them to their garages and all that.
In fact, I cannot confirm or deny. But the general advice is that make sure you authenticate the documents and the car from customs before you assume custody.
Let me pick Patrick on the line and then I'll come back to you again. Hello, Patrick. Hello, Patrick. Hello, Patrick, do we have? No. Okay, so the number again that you can WhatsApp is 05, I think I mentioned that earlier, it should be on your screen, is 0267 565143, 0267 565143. We should get some WhatsApps from you on that particular number. Kindly forget about the previous line, which is 0559019177, which is a regular line. There's some bit of difficulty. So 0267565143 is the number you can, and it should be on the screens, I think. Okay, so Prince, the whole idea that people should amass around the port there, or should have this whole thinking that around the port space auctioning cars are being sold is not true.
It's not true.
Okay, let me pick this particular short video, get a small sense of what somebody went through. A short video. We'll take just about 3, 4, 5 minutes of that video, and then we will come back.
Buying cars in the port is cheaper than going to garages. So, sure, trust me.
Ladies are trying to steal my car.
Hold my bag. Hold my way. You don't call me a thief.
We don't sell cars at the ports.
Oh, officer. But I bought this car and I have paid for it.
Put down. That one might be dangerous, so I approach with care.
Just keep cool. Because anything is said will go against you.
What is keeping this girl so long? She always keeps me waiting. Look at the time. It's almost 12. Sandra will not kill me.
Hello, Mercy.
Girl, why do you keep me so waiting?
I'm sorry. Traffic.
You always say traffic. It's not a good thing.
I'm sorry. No, you were telling me something. I don't get it.
So what don't you get now?
Are we going to the port to buy a car? I learned you don't sell cars at the port. So
I understand, but I also have an evidence. Okay, you know Mr. Addison?
Yeah.
Have you seen the car his wife is using?
Yeah.
That car was bought in the port. So what makes you think I can buy some at the port? And sure? Port, I can buy the same thing. And let me tell you, buying cars in the port is cheaper. It's so cheap. I'm gonna get a car today, pay everything, and come home.
Okay, if you say so. I mean,
sure. Let's go.
All right.
Importer and exporter of cars.
Excuse me. Who? This car
is one of my cars.
Really? Please, I want to buy it.
You want to buy this car?
Yes, this very one. And how much is it going for?
What about this one?
No, I want this.
She like this one.
I love the red color.
Okay, this one is 45,000 Ghana cedis.
What's 5,000?
Okay, no problem. So how do they pay?
No, wait. Okay.
Be careful. That's what I was saying. So how do you do the payment? Hello, baby. Yes, I'm at the port at the moment. Yes, I found a car and I like it. So, oh yes, 50,000 will do. Yes, just that. Oh, thank you, baby. You know I love you. Mwah, mwah.
So what is it?
He's sending it. Hey, Boga, please, a minute. Just give some 2 minutes, okay?
Okay.
What's still? Can we go around the car?
Oh yeah, you can.
Can we take pictures?
Yeah. Let me even show you some.
Sure. You're fortunate.
Of course I am. Sorry. Okay.
Everything is neat.
Yes. So now,
I think you want to watch.
It's okay. Can I give you a check?
A check?
Yes.
When is it going to be mature?
Just now. Just go to the bank and just now. Once I go away.
Okay.
So this is it. Now go check it. Cash it. Okay. So please, can I have the keys and the documents?
Wait. I'll get you the keys right now.
Come out, sit out. This is the cloud. I can't wait. Come. But I'm here. Yes.
You said your name is?
I'm Messi.
Messi?
Yes.
Okay. This is the key to the car.
Sure. Thank you.
Let me give you the document. Take this one whilst I'm processing to clear the car for you.
Of course, of course. So can I be in the car whilst?
Oh, you can.
Okay.
You can. Let me take your number. I'll
Sure.
take my number.
Let me take yours.
0243 23 93 43.
Nice number.
Okay.
So please, how many minutes or hours do you take?
Oh, let's say like 4 hours.
4 hours?
Yes.
Okay, no problem.
I will process it 4 hours. Then it's
Burger, please,
Okay.
Burger, can I go with you so that
you can.
No, it's not needed. Come, it's not needed. Come. It's okay. It's okay.
You can go with me.
Okay,
That's okay, Burger, go.
Okay, I'll be with you soon.
Sure. Please, don't keep long. Don't worry.
What is keeping Burger P so long like that, eh?
I wonder. It's past 4 hours now. I'm still sitting here.
Challenge me, I'm tired.
Oh, we should go and sit in the car.
Let's go, because I'm so tired. I've already paid for it, so...
Yes. Let's wait for some more.
All right. Let me start and see if
No, start and let's see. Yes. The car is good. See the seat. See the tight seat. Today we are going to the club. Not starting. What? Start to what?
Let me see.
But why?
Hello, lady. Hello. Please, what's going on here?
Why are you asking that? I'm parking my car.
This guy is my car.
No. Young lady, what are you talking about? I just bought this car from Burger Quick.
No, this guy is my car.
How do you mean this is your
I have the right keys here.
Young lady.
No, wait a minute. Let me show it to you.
This car is mine.
These are the right keys to this car.
This car is mine. I bought from Burger Quick just this morning. What are you
Ladies, I'm telling you that this car is mine.
Oh, you know what?
See,
Get back.
these two cars are mine.
No.
So you can't just come and
young lady
use somebody's car just like that.
Please, ladies, we don't fight here. What is the problem?
Boss, these two ladies are trying to steal my car.
What?
In fact, there must be something wrong.
Ladies,
This
calm
car
down,
we just
calm
bought
down,
from
calm
Burger
down.
King. And you are here
What is
calling us
happening?
thieves.
Don't
Hold my bag. Hold my way. You didn't call me a thief.
Yeah, hold on.
This car is mine. You're calling me a thief.
I'm the yard foreman.
Whatever you call yourself, this car is mine. I bought from Burger King and he has given me the give me the document.
I don't even understand.
Give it to me.
Wait.
You can check
Show
for yourself.
it.
Show it to them. How can you call us thieves? You don't know who you are dealing with. You check it well.
Check.
These are the right keys here. Why are you telling me?
Check it and you see that the car belongs to us.
Calling me a thief. I bought it. Have you seen this now?
Madam, I'm sorry. This car is not for you.
Former, please.
The reason is, you listen to me. I'm the yard foreman. The information on this paper doesn't correspond to the car you are claiming.
Oh, what are you telling me? Former, whoever you call yourself.
Well.
I bought this car. This is the car with the key.
It's okay. Madam, who sold the car to you?
Burger King.
Okay, so can I talk to you?
Sure. Sandra, call him.
I don't have credit, so you use your phone. Fast.
I just can't imagine. You call him. Call him. Is it going? It's not going through. No, check. Boss, it's not going through, but I'm telling you that this guy is
calm down. You see, we don't sell cars at the port.
What do you mean don't sell? But I bought this car here.
Excuse me, port. If you want to buy a car, why don't you go to garage?
Boss, garage, no garage.
It's okay, cool down. Okay, don't worry.
So what do we do now? Don't push us.
I say, you're patient, please.
Boss, I bought this car from Agapi. I told you earlier. No, but the car is
listen to me. For now, madam, for now, I have to send what our office.
For what?
Security.
Thank you. So we have seen that bit of drama there, demonstrating how some people got themselves into trouble. Now somebody's made away with your money, whoever he calls himself, and he's gone. Prince, what do you make of that? What can you say about it?
This is a typical, organized crime. Yes. One, I'll analyze this video from customs point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And the first point is that I'll talk about the entry. Mm-hmm. In fact, no person is allowed to enter
the port environment like that.
No, where the cars are parked, inside the yard.
The terminal
the port environment is big.
You can
just pass by, but to enter where the cars are parked, it's not done. You won't be allowed.
Okay.
So the fact that these ladies managed to enter is, in the first place, a problem.
Yeah.
And they might have entered through.
Is it possible to enter through an assistance of anybody, an importer or somebody? Is it possible at all?
They might use a crooked way of entering,
but it's not possible.
It's not possible. Okay. It's not possible for them to enter.
If you manage to, if you try the crooked way, you definitely will be fished out by the security.
Exactly. Then two, I also talk about at the point where the keys were released to the lady. Before then, on a lighter note, the seller mentioned an amount of 5,000 as the cost of the car. This will give the lady some
signal that it's too cheap to be true.
It's too cheap to be true. You are talking about Corolla 2012 or 2013 model. It cannot be. But when he made a call to her husband, do you know what the price she mentioned? She mentioned 40,000. So the husband home, this is a normal price for these cars. Will not sense any danger. So I don't even know if the lady is part of the syndicate. But let's move ahead. Then the keys, he released the keys to the lady. Let's look at the point where keys will be released to owners of cars. This is the last stage of the clearance process. And once the key is released, it means that the document, everything has been cleared. So you sit in your car and you are going. So the lady should have insisted that the owner drives the car out before he gets to the garage or wherever and take possession.
Not to collect the key and try to drive by herself.
Not at all, not at all. And then the mode of payment. He mentioned check. He mentioned cash. Custom duty is not paid by check to an individual.
But in this case, they were buying from an individual, so the assumption is that it's a person they were paying to.
Yes, but once they are in the port, they should realize that there are processes there. You don't deal in physical cash. You go to the bank and make payments, not to an individual. So all these things will send signals that
it's not a good deal.
It's not a good deal.
Okay, so you have given us clarity. The fact that it's not easy to enter the port environment. If anybody forces or does some crooked way to manage to get you into that environment, know that it is not the proper way.
Very well.
That's what you're saying.
Very true.
Anyhow, you manage to get inside. And if they say they are selling cars to you and hand over keys and all of that, question that process because it's not that done.
Very true.
Okay. You've got some few questions coming in for you. I'm going to have to sort this out real quick. Okay, so please, can owner who was not able to pay his or her duty due to penalty come and buy it at auction period? This is Boogie from Aflao.
Not at all. The whole essence of auctioning is to punish people from bringing in overage cars. So if now the person has the option to come and then bid at the auction and get it, then there wouldn't be any relevance for we to do the auction.
Okay.
So it is not possible.
Okay. But how do you know that this person was the original owner and so you deny the person?
If you come and participate and you win, fine.
As an ordinary person,
yes,
okay.
As an ordinary person and win, fine.
Okay.
But for you to be given preference is no.
Well, Anyo says, can I have Mr. Kwabo's number? Is it possible to speak to him of? Okay, so good evening. Is importation of salvage vehicle permittable at the port? Yes, we are told that you can continue to bring for now until you have any official declaration contrary to that effect. Good evening, Philip from Farm Milk. Please, when is the next auction sale? That is 1. 2, the Duty Hub app in the Play Store isn't available anymore or not working. It helps the public know the duty of cars we import so that we don't end up having our cars in auction. Do you know about those?
The next auction date is not yet set.
Okay.
But in all our auctions, we advertise in the daily newspapers. So
Okay.
you should be
Look
reading
out for it from the daily newspapers. Okay.
The Duty Hub, I've taken notes and then I will liaise with the appropriate units and find out the updates now.
Okay, Fifi from Prestia is on the line, and let me say that the number that you should call is rather 020-552-8353, and you shouldn't WhatsApp the number. You shouldn't call the number. You should rather WhatsApp on. Hello, Philip. Hello. Yes. Good evening. Go ahead.
Yeah, please. How about car from Togo and paying a duty?
Sorry.
I'm saying, can I buy a car from Togo?
And
pay the duty?
You're asking why buy a car from Togo and pay a duty in Ghana?
Yes, I'm asking if it's possible.
Okay. So when they buy cars from Togo, particularly when they have the perception that when you import car through the Togo port, it's cheap, it's free. Why buy the car from Togo? When you buy a car from Togo, do you pay duty? Can you use Togo car in Ghana? Somebody is also asking that. This one says, I would like to know where I bought a car from, whether I bought a car from Togo and now want to regularize it. What should I do? So quite a number of cars coming from Togo, and what should they do?
Thank you. The first question was whether he can pay duty on Togo cars. Yes, he can pay duty on Togo cars. We have a collection in Aflao, which is a Aflao collection. So what he can do is that he can bring the car from Togo to Aflao, and Aflao will assess the necessary duties, and he goes ahead and pay the documents. The necessary documents will be given to him or her, and then he can bring the car in. It is not only in Aflao, all the borders along the eastern frontier, custom borders, he can send the car there, and then they will do the assessment for him to pay and then come in.
Okay, but you must pay duty when you buy a car coming from that side.
Yes, you must pay duty.
Is it true that government workers have duty free once every year? Is it true? This is coming from Nalerugu Ima is asking that.
I can't confirm that, so I have to
find out. Okay. You can't confirm whether government workers can clear a car for free once in a year?
I think
they used to be with the nursing officers, but
it was
it's
removed.
not for every government worker.
It was removed.
Yes, and even it was at that time. It wasn't even all government workers.
Yes,
It was only nurses who could and health officers and doctors.
Yes.
Okay. So hello, please. Good evening. I would like to know from the officer whether you needed any or you need any additional papers from customs apart from the auction receipt from the auctioneer before you can register a car auctioned by the police. This car is an accident car abandoned at the police station, which the police auction. This is Same from Accra. So are the police officers also auctioning?
Yes, normally all government cars are cleared on exemption. So once they are selling to a third party, that exempted duty needs to be paid. So once, wherever you buy a car, once it's a government car, you need to come to customs and regularize the documents by paying that duty.
The duty component.
Waived.
Okay. This is Mimi from Ashaiman. How much are the duties of the cars, please? That one, there's a lot. Alexander is on the line from TEMA. Let's pick Alex and then get back to the lines again. Hello, Alex.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, Alex, go ahead. Good evening, go ahead.
I'm Alexander Dato. I'm an actor. I was the agent who detained the ladies. What the officer is saying is part of right, but it is not right. Because we shot this video 2 years now, but this corona came recently. So I want to prove him right that what he was saying is 100% wrong.
Okay. Thank you very much. So,
and at the same time, an actor.
Okay. So this one says, good evening. Why is it difficult to pay duty for car driving to Ghana from Nigeria at Aflao? Okay. And this one says, good evening, sir. The officer in your studio talking about the experience about the TEMA. Okay. I'm not too clear about that. Can importer write to GRA and pay the duty installment? Samuel, is it possible to pay your duty in installment? You bring a car, you're not able to pay, so you pay stagger.
Yes, we have that regime.
Okay.
Yes, we have that. But
is the trading hub also?
You need to satisfy the Commissioner General that you are in the capacity to pay.
Okay.
At every month by getting.
That means you must apply to the Commissioner General?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this one says, is the Ghana Trading Hub working? Is it working? To check your duty?
I can confirm.
Okay.
I have to.
Good evening. Please ask the officer why sometimes some people come to the car park at Safe Bond with a letter from the ministry that a particular car has been given to them as a location at the cheaper price whilst no auctions is taking place. This is Bright from TEMA. Is that happening? Is that allocation, how is allocation different from the auctioning though?
The cheaper price notion is what I will dispel. But yes, if you go to section 93, subsection 2, with your permission, if I may read.
Do it snappy. So while you look for it in the Act, please, if the auction price is higher than the tax for government, does the importer earn any money? Francis Austin from Kumasi sent that. Now, while you continue to look, let me read a few others. My brother shipped in Peugeot 307 year 2009, but customs assessed it in 2003 and was imposed penalties which we paid. On our way to clear the car, one customs officer named Ali, named something, Ali something, detected it was 2009, correction has to be made. Funny enough, after the correction, we were not balanced the penalties amount. Customs should come again on some of the mistakes. Is it possible that you make some of these mistakes?
So I'll first talk about the allocation. If you go to section 59, subsection 3.
Okay.
With your permission.
Please.
The price at which a forfeited motor vehicle is disposed of, whether by auction sale, allocation, or any other method shall include the duty and taxes eligible on the motor vehicle.
Okay.
So the law talks about allocation.
Okay.
Allocation, he was specific that from Ministry of Finance. It's not true. We have allocation committee, and the committee is represented by the confiscated asset committee, the Ministry of Finance, and customs. And customs eventually issue the allocation letters. So it is not given by the Ministry of Finance. It is given by customs. And there is a committee which considers all application and then decipher which one is of merit, and it is allocated as such. And the price on the letter is the duty deductible on that item, not any other value. It is the duty of that item.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So we have Patrick from Kumasi, and that should be our last caller. But Gloria from Adenta says, good evening. I am a pure water seller. I have saved a little and I need auction car to improve my business. As an ordinary pure water seller, how do I get an auction car to buy? So as Mr. Kwabwa said earlier, you may have to be looking out for the publication. If there's auction going on, you may want to try your luck. Hello, Patrick.
Hello.
Yes. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, I bought an auction pickup car.
Okay.
Which was manufactured in 2003. And I had to pay duty before registering it, which I don't understand.
Okay. I think can you repeat that? You bought the pickup
auction car from the city.
Yeah.
It was a government vehicle.
You said from where?
From the government.
Okay, but it wasn't auctioned through customs, right?
No, it wasn't auctioned through customs. It was auctioned, and we had a letter from the chief of staff.
Okay, no, that's entirely different. So we're talking purely on customs auction. So I think I will have him respond to that, but...
yes, I still want to explain why I had to pay duty.
You had to still go back and pay duty on it?
Yes, I paid the duty before registering.
Okay, he will respond to that.
I think this question has surfaced about 3 times. It's the same thing. I'm saying that those cars were exempted at the time of importation.
Government vehicles.
Government vehicles. So the duties were not paid at that time. Now that they are being auctioned, yes, a value will be put on it by the auctioneer, who is not a custom-appointed auctioneer.
Okay.
But that duty, which was exempted, because now the ownership is changing from government to an individual, it has to be settled. So he has to get, yes, the auctioneer's receipts, get the chief of staff letter, get the list of cars which were auctioned by that institution, submit it to customs. And customs will now look at our records and look at the duty which was exempted. And then we ask you to pay. But there is a form of depreciation. Because of wear and tear, there is a form of depreciation which we give to them.
Okay. So this one, Godsway Fiagbe from Sugakope says, I would like to know if any other person will have the foreknowledge about the auction time before the public, apart from the officials.
No.
Nobody gets to know. Okay.
Nobody.
Patrick from TEMA, please, is it true we are supposed to pay duty on Kantanka cars? Do you know about that? No. Kantanka was in the general manager was in the studio some time ago. He says, once you buy from their place, as the price that you get, you don't go pay duty anywhere else. That is what came from the general manager. I think the publication is online. Hello, my name is Hamza from Tamale. Please, I want to ask about the car duty waiver for health professionals. Do you know about that? I think you have responded to that. Please, what's the plans of customs to move towards the digitization of car clearance at the port to avoid corruption, reduction in administration cost, and reduction in turnaround time? Eric from Belgium. Please, can you use Togo number plate in Ghana? I mean, Togo number plate car in Ghana.
Yes, you can use Togo number plate, but your documentation should be correct. It should be within the allowable period given by the point of entry.
Okay.
Yes, once it is not expired, you can use it. But once it expires, beware that you are going to face difficulties.
Okay. Please, I want to clarification that in the short scenario, okay. This one says, please, how much will it cost me to register an Opel Astra? Okay, that's one. Astra B from Togo. No. Do you know that? No. You can't tell. So you'll have to go to customs and get the details. Let me go for my international news, and when I come back, I'll be wrapping up with the head of auctions with the Ghana Revenue Authority. We'll be back shortly.
On 24th September, the IMO and the global maritime community came together to celebrate the annual World Maritime Day. The 2020 theme was in line with the industry-wide efforts pushing to save fuel and develop green energy sources as they work to decarbonize shipping. However, the year has been completely overshadowed by the impact of COVID-19 on the industry and especially on the seafarers who are facing one of the worst humanitarian crises in the industry. More than 300 300,000 seafarers are currently stranded on ships, with some now working for more than 17 months at sea without a break. A further 300,000 workers are unable to join ships and potentially face unemployment due to government-imposed travel restrictions and quarantine measures in different parts of the world. The IMO and the UN has urged governments to act in a coordinated manner to recognize seafarers as key workers, exempting them from travel restrictions and implementing the recommended protocols for safe crew changes. 2 new vessels will be equipped with autonomous technology in a contract signed by Norway's Kongsberg and Masterly with Norway's leading grocery distributor, ASKO. The fully electric ships will replace 2 million kilometers of truck transport, saving 5,000 tons of carbon dioxide every year, ensure cost effectiveness, sustainability, and remove trucks from a heavily trafficked road. The vessels, which are due to be delivered early in 2022, have been designed by Norwegian vessel designer Naval Dynamics and will be constructed at the state-owned Cochin shipyard in India. As part of California's ongoing efforts to enforce strict emission regulations in its major ports, Japanese shipping line MOL has agreed to pay a significant penalty for violations of the air quality regulations. The fines relate to MOL's practices while docked in the Port of Oakland in California. Starting in 2007, California enacted at-berth regulations designed to reduce nitrogen and particulate matter emissions from vessels while at dock. MOL has agreed to pay $253,300 in penalties to the California Air Resources Board for violating the ocean-going vessel at-berth regulation. Sargent Marine, an asphalt shipping company based in Boca Raton, Florida, pleaded guilty to bribery schemes in 3 South American countries and agreed to pay a criminal fine of $16.6 million to resolve the charges. The U.S. Department of Justice said that between 2010 and 2018, the company paid millions of dollars in bribes to foreign officials in Brazil, Venezuela, and Ecuador to obtain contracts to purchase or sell asphalt to the country's state-owned and state-controlled oil companies. The Department of Justice said that Sargent Marine admitted to bribing a minister in the Brazilian government, a high-ranking member of the Brazilian Congress, and senior executives at Petróleo Brasileiro S.A. Petrobras to obtain valuable contracts to sell asphalt. The Maritime Executive, an international news agency, has reported that there has been a possible approach of a tanker at sea off Ghana by suspected pirates. While such incidents are common in the Gulf of Guinea, the report indicates that location of this particular operation was outside the usual jurisdiction of the pirates. Other reports state that the incident took place approximately 72 nautical miles off Takoradi at around 8:50 hours local time on 22nd September 2020. The vessel that is believed to have been targeted is the tanker Hafnia Phoenix, a 7-year-old Danish flagged tanker. The vessel, which measures 600 feet in length, was sailing from Lomé, Togo to Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire. A skiff believed to be carrying 9 to 10 people approached the tanker with a ladder. The tanker increased speed and took evasive maneuvers. It was able to leave the area without further incident. 3 weeks ago, Dryad, a non-profit research organization, reported another incident around the area. That time, the Marshall Island flagged oil tanker Pike was approximately 114 nautical miles southeast of Tema, Ghana, when a small boat approached and attempted boarding with a ladder. There were reportedly 6 to 8 people aboard the small boat. In that incident, the tanker was also able to escape the boarding by taking evasive actions.
Okay, so as we're wrapping up here in the studio, Francis Austin from Kumasi wants to know, he says, if the auction price is higher than the tax for government, does the importer earn any money from that? So if you happen to auction the car more than the price, the importer who couldn't clear and abandon the vehicle, does he get any money?
Yes, if you go to section, if you go to LI 2248, section 15148-154, it states that yes, importers have the right to receive the surplus from auction, but it is upon application. It is not that we sell and we come and give. You have to write within 1 year.
Who the importer must apply?
The importer must apply.
I see. And yes. So, but how does he get to know that you have sold the car more than the amount he brought?
Yes, the onus lies on him to find out.
It means what you are then saying is that the importer ought to be around when the car is being auctioned.
Yes, or really? he can come around to also find out how much his car was auctioned, and then how much the duty was.
How can he make that inquiry from your office?
Yes, he can come to our office and make that inquiry.
Okay, and then compare with how much
he would have paid. Okay, and the difference. Then he can put in the application.
Okay.
For refund.
Okay. So we ending here, but Ohima, definitely I have to, one of our regular texters says, good evening, Iron Port. I have seen people buy vehicles with foreign numbers, Togo, Nigeria. So does it mean, one, such vehicles are on temporary importation as per the discussion that we're having, and two, can they be sold with a foreign number or registered in that state?
All numbers, foreign numbers, yes, they mean that they are on temporary importation, and they cannot be sold whilst they are in the country. They can only be sold when the importer or the owner moves in with a prospective buyer to customs office, and the owner will then apply to change the use from temporary importation to home use, and he has to support with all documents of importation or temporary admission before the duty will be assessed for him to pay. So you don't pay the person and retrieve the car and bring it to customs to pay. He has to be around. Okay. Because under normal circumstances, it should be re-exported. It should go back.
Okay. We'll find time for this discussion because the messages that you are getting, you have no idea. And the calls that are standing by. I'm Kevin. I have bought a Benz from a pharmacist registered 2009 just yesterday. Will I pay duty again?
Once the car is in the country, it's assumed that duty has been paid.
So and it's registered 2009, means that...
So you can bring the documents to customs for authentication.
For authentication. Yes. Okay, so my guest in the studio has been Mr. Prince Akwabwa. He's the Principal Revenue Officer who is in charge, or the head of auction at the Ghana Revenue Authority. And we have been talking about the perception of selling cars around the port as against the auctions that are undertaken by customs. And as you may have heard, it is not true that cars are being sold at the port as you have been told, or the perception you may have. Mr. Akwabwa, you have the final words and then we can end up here.
Thank you. If they want auction, they should look out for the publication. Cars at customs installation are meant to be cleared by their owners. They are meant to be cleared by their owners, not to be sold. So if somebody takes you there and manage to dupe you, it is your own issue. If you want an auction car, kindly look out for the publication in the daily newspapers, and then you come physically and participate. Once you win, we are going to issue you with an auction sheet to go through the process and clear yourself, not by somebody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Somebody says, oh, so that is Mr. Akwabwa, a very simple man. I have always been hearing his name, the man in charge of auctions. Big man there, looking very simple. That one came for you.
Thank you.
I should have read it. It's coming from One Nut in Tamale. Thank you very much for watching the program. We'll see you same time next week. Executive producers, Mrs. A.C. Sudeberg and Mrs. Esther Jebidonko. Quite a number of people supported this program. Alfred Chagbe is just right behind the assistant production. Tobias Zintora as well, assisted production, and Williams Abekukena, always making this program possible. Thanks a lot for watching. Joe Bone was also behind, Joe Lavo was behind. See you same time next week.